social enterprises or social business for the social causes. And the model of this social business type is no loss, no dividend. So nobody can take the dividend. And the other social business that should be, owned by the poor people, which is the model of Grameen Bank. So they will be the owner. Theoretically, they will be the owner of the Grameen Bank, and they will use it for the benefit and the social benefit as well. The third model that we have identified is a model that's interesting with the collaboration of development organization named CARE International and with the MNC multinational corporation like Bata. They have joint venture program, and also now they are involved with other organizations like Unilever and also the Square Bangladesh. So the main objectives is to create employment for the rural women, and basically the rural women, they sell the product of different multinational corporation, and the name of the project is Jita, so they get some kind of commission on the basis of their sale. And there are other kind of, social enterprises like West Concern and Kaji model. Basically, they have this kind of one kind of social and environmental aim. Like West Concern, they just recycle the waste of the city, especially in Dhaka and many other part of the Bangladesh. And the most popular one is, the microfinance business, especially popular by the Grameen Bank and the BRAC, and there are many NGOs who have this kind of microfinance program. It is said that almost all NGO in Bangladesh, they have the microfinance business, not only for the poor people, but the sustainability of their own organization as well. And also there are some kind of, conventional handicrafts products who also somehow benefits the rural people. So these are the main models of different social enterprises in Bangladesh. And although there are differences among their models, but most of them, they have this kind of, objectives like that to income generate, one kind of income generation, and also, help the local people, the poor people, and they have this kind of health program, education, and many others program with their, vision. Characteristics of the types, there are, if we look at majority, most of the SE, they are registered as non-profitable organization, as the key speaker, he told in the case of Korea. Majority are single organization and a single ownership. And the NGOs, there are two types of NGOs. Indeed, we don't have that middle, type of, or mid-section, NGOs. Either the NGOs, they have higher capital, they have lots of capital, and or absence of capital. So small and the big one. And the main objectives of this SE are poverty alleviation, employment creation, livelihood improvement, and creation of income opportunity for women. Many have the goal to empowering the woman. Besides, they have some additional program, improving health, sanitation, hygiene, and other objectives. And also 10%, if you look at the characteristics of the SEs, 10% SEs started with the capital up to US $6,250, 31% with more than US $6,250, and 5% started up to 12,500. And only 3% they started with a capital more than 12,500. I should say that when we ask about their capital, about the taxes or revenue, nobody wants to, tell that, because, there are lots of problem and complexities within the government, and also the corruption, that exists in South Asia, and I think in Southeast Asia. So they always try to, avoid these questions. But at least we could find out from different sources that they have. And initially the capital they use for the SE, basically personal investment of the owner. Mostly they invested themselves. They also got some kind of grants from development organization or social investors. Also public grant. There were public grant, loan, and institutional fund, and equity from the investor, which is 2%. And if you look at the their resources, I mean, we ask the organizations whether they consider themselves as matured or not. Very few say that they are matured enough, you know, in terms of their capital, in terms of their resource, in terms of revenue, and also the structure of the organization and their activities. Like only 42% we CEO are women, and rest 58% are male. And if we look at the structure, most of the people, they say that there is no poor people, you know, in their governing body. Some told us that poor people, they don't understand. They can't say what's the problem and what's the issue they should address. Only 15% they said that there are poor, you know, people in their governing body, and there are some women, especially the rural women, who are also involved with this governing body, like Grameen Bank. They have a huge number of women in their board. Good, back to that. And if we look revenue for the first, we ask them revenue within the last 5 years, 70%, and I think it's a percentage all about. You can see that how much revenue they paid, and also in 213. I mean, we had some sort of political unrest. So, I mean, they couldn't, you know, tell us about the 2013. What they do, what kind of social activities, I mean, they have. So they have this kind of, you know, social innovations, like basically skill development through training, different kind of training, and then income generating activities, opportunity. And also making use of traditional craft skill to produce more modern goods. Like we found one organization who are promoting the indigenous people. So somehow, you know, they are giving training them to, you know, how they can transform that indigenous things to the modern things. And also there are some, what are the design, what should be the design. So they give this kind of training to the poor people. And also there are microcredit programs, and definitely it is the most largest, you know, SE in Bangladesh. And also they give training on healthcare, water sanitation activities, and urban waste management, rural sales distributions, and so many things. Most innovative that I said already, that the microcredit business, and their innovation range from cost saving to management, and also the development of the, you know, of the rural poor people. Mostly the segment of the poor people, they are serving for the poor people. If you look at the data, serving for the enterprising poor mostly, like 53%, agricultural workers are 33%, farmers 18%, indigenous people 20%. It's huge, because I mean, if we consider in generally, I mean, maybe among the 60 you know, social enterprises that we interviewed, somehow they are focusing on the indigenous people. But considering, I mean, in the scenario of the country, it's very high rate, like 20% indigenous people. Definitely, it's rarely higher. And also some are also working with the disability and disabled people. And also, interestingly, some people, some organizations, they focus on women, some also the rural poor, some, you know, focus on the disabled people, and some also destitute, and also the sex worker. So they try to, you know, help them. And another thing is that, I mean, I should say that the supply and the workers, who are the supply and the workers, it's very, I mean, it's not easy to, you know, distinguish, because sometimes the workers are the suppliers and also the suppliers of the workers, and there are more people behind the scenario. So we don't know how many people are, you know, incorporated with the whole program, because it's like a chain. So suppliers and the workers, then somebody, you know, gives something to do with the other workers. So it's a huge things. So it's a large chain, you know. Then go there. Interestingly, no SE, they sell capacity building. I mean, we haven't found anyone who sell the capacity building. Rather, with the support of the other organization or the mostly NGO-related program, they, you know, paying for the capacity building of the poor people and especially the women. They give the training, so there is no, you know, capacity building program for sale of this institute. And most than 42% of the SE, they dedicated product or service for the women inclusively. Impact majority as well, impact, if we look at the impact of the SE, definitely they are creating some kind of income opportunity for the women, rural people, especially the women, especially who are considered as as the capability deprivation. So somehow giving this kind of, you know, offering some kind of income generating activities, they are trying to, you know, help those women who are deprived already by the society because of the patriarchy, because of the social norms and values. And also the C claim that workers acquire higher self-esteem and also greater confidence because of this kind of program. Many workers have been able to send their children to the school, improving their living condition, and also the house, again, you know, going outside. So mobility is some sort of the symbol of the status as well, and at the same time it is also considered by the development organization as a constraint of the women's empowerment. So it's more complex. We have to understand where they go, and what's the purpose of going out. So all are related with this mobility concept. And also women have been able to raise their voice, especially in the organization, especially in different areas. When they face any problem or challenges, they can at least raise their voice. And also as I say, that some poor people, they have been able to participate in the governing body, although we don't know. I mean, again, it is questionable that what they do. I mean, in Grameen Bank, there are lots of women in the governing body, but we usually see that nobody, you know, raise their voice in front of the higher officials. I mean, they're just, you know, sitting and giving their support to the you know, the high officials. So these are the impact that we have seen among the rural people and especially the empowerment of women. But as I said, there are lots of challenges that the SED are facing. One of the most challenge that they are facing is access to financial, sector, because the financial support, without the financial support, especially, we have seen that the interest is very high, especially in the bank system, and also they are facing some problem with the management. Access to appropriate technology is also another problem, and also effective and efficient management. Lack of effective and efficient management is also another problem. The most important problem is corruption in different layers of the government, regulatory boards, and also the negative government policy. And also weather, as you know, that Bangladesh is also known for the disaster-prone area. So weather is also sometimes make some problem, especially those organizations who are working with the agro and the local raw material based. So that is another problem. And also another important problem is that the political unrest that we have. I think that it's not only the Bangladesh. Whenever the election comes, the government, new government formed, then the other opposite party, they started, doing some sort of things that that makes the country unstable. So political unrest, and especially all the CEO, they told us, especially 2012, 2013 in Bangladesh, the political unrest was severe. So I mean, they faced a challenge because they have some kind of shipment, and especially those who work with the other organization or globally. So they have faced they face this kind of problem. So that's all in a short presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. We can open it up to maybe about 10 minutes.
But why is it there's no business for capacity? Because there is a...
Okay, shall I answer now?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Okay. Capacity building, as I told, that still now, most of the organization, not only the general or common people, rather the organization, they themselves don't know they are doing some sort of social business, and conceptually still they are unclear. And capacity building, it's also related as the development model and the development activities that started in Bangladesh with NGOs. So always NGO says that you have to build your capacity, especially the rural people. So it's always the part of the NGO activities. So whenever we talk about the capacity building, it seems that the NGO they will, or the SE they will give it free, not as a business. So we don't have this kind of capacity building, but I think that some organization, they are thinking about how they can sell the capacity building, but still now it's absent, especially among the 60 SE that we interviewed. But even we found some, I mean very few, like 1 or 2 who are not included in this sample. But still now, we always say capacity building, it's a part of the development organization, and it will be given, on the basis without any charge. So whenever you become the member of this organization, they will automatically give you this kind of capacity building.
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask the opinion about the differentiation between the NGO doing library activity and the social enterprise.
I said there are 4 models. There are different kind of models of SE, and basically still now most of the social business program are related to the NGOs. So I haven't seen any, very few organizations who are doing only the social business without their entity with the NGOs, mostly run with the social business, still now dominated by the NGOs in Bangladesh.
That was actually very similar to my question, because you laid out the different business models. Sorry, Allison, from Shoedog. You laid out the different SE models, and I was interested, do you see the hybrid model starting to take off and social business becoming a smaller proportion of the SEs in Bangladesh? Or are you, and quite frankly, are you seeing that profitable businesses with a social and environmental aim starting to increase and really compete with the social businesses in the hybrid models?
I don't think that they are competing with each other. Like BRAC, who has the hybrid model. We always say, or somebody mentioned this as a hybrid model. It's a huge NGO. They are not only working in Bangladesh,
the biggest NGO in the world.
So yes, the largest, biggest NGOs in the world. Yes. So they don't think that they are competing with the Western and the small organization who have just started, working with the recycling, the waste things. I don't think that they are competing with each other, but maybe the different organizations, whether they are NGOs or not, as social business or social enterprises has become a prominent issue right now. Like 2 decades ago, 1 decade ago, nobody knows about that much. I shouldn't say not nobody, but most of the people, especially in case of Bangladesh, I think they don't know about this kind of social business. So some organizations, they are trying to innovate some new things as for the social business. So I don't say that there are competition. Rather, I should say that they are complementing each other and interrelated with each other. And in one sense, it's better because in 80s and 90s, everybody were involved with the microfinance. Although in their mission and vision, they said that they are trying to empower the rural people and especially the women. So they were working for the empowerment of the rural women. But suddenly we saw that 80% organization even bragged they didn't have this kind of huge microfinance business. Only the Grameen Bank, they have this kind of, they started with the microfinance business. Certainly all those organizations in the NGO sectors like ASHA, BRAC, and many, Proshika, many others, prominent bank, they shifted from awareness building and somehow they were left oriented different kind of, different kind of NGOs that they work in Bangladesh who were anti-liberalism and also the anti-capitalism. They started shifting from the other side to this side. So all of them, like they're jumping into the organization and started, microfinance business. So in that sense, even when I did my field work, I have found that among the 13 organizations working in the same village, 12 they had this kind of microfinance business, and that is also one kind of challenge is that overlapping. Everybody is the member, every poor woman they are the member of Grameen Bank, at the same time ASHA, at the same time BRAC, and they know, and also the management they know, but they have this kind of target, that you have to fulfill the target. So they didn't mind to include all these things, given that their ideology was different. So if the other organization, they shift from the microfinance to an innovative, they started, some sort of innovative model, I think it would, support the whole country and also the, support the social business, to increase in Bangladesh, who wants to, reduce the poverty as well as the women's empowerment. So I think it's a complementary, supportive, and definitely I do support this kind of new innovation, by the new social SE.
So my name is Nurul Amin. I'm working for Oxfam Regional Office as Regional Enterprise Lead. So I'm also from Bangladesh. So thank you so much for giving the very excellent and insightful presentation. So I think one model is maybe missing. One is the cooperative model. So those are working in the very rural area. These are the very small enterprise. So they are working for social business, for well-being for the poor people. I think there might be missing in the study. So that's the one area. I think and another thing is a gender segregation data. So we are very good. We are finding very good data, but in terms of women participation at the different level of the enterprises, so that would be helpful for us, so that we can think about. So if we think about the future strategy for social enterprises, so what would be role of Oxfam or other organizations to engage women at the different level of the enterprises, and how they can contribute, for the social enterprises. And third thing is, based on my experience, I found small enterprises working in the rural area, especially women also working in the as a social entrepreneur, but there is a lack of recognitions.
Yes.
So that's another point. So I think these are three things very important, maybe missing in that.
Thank you very much for pointing out about that, especially the cooperative. I mean, it's a small presentation because only the 15 minutes, so I was just, thinking what should I say and what shouldn't. Cooperative model, yes, as I said you, that the first SE model in Bangladesh, or not only in Bangladesh, I think that Indian subcontinent
Yes.
was definitely the cooperative model. We looked for the cooperative model, but somehow we haven't found that much. Like earlier there was Milpita and lots of cooperative models in Bangladesh. But now they are shifting. They don't, belong in this cooperative model. And somehow the cooperative model, I don't know why, but somehow they are missing, and we don't see that much cooperative like earlier. So that's why we just, pointed out the major types of models. But in our report, yes, definitely we mentioned about the cooperative model. And also gender segregation, yes, there are lots of data, especially on how many women they are, involved with the whole process. Yes, we have the data in our report, but especially if we look at the SEs, still now they are somehow, focusing on the issues like handicrafts and, lots of things which is basically run by the women. So to some extent, we can say 90% women are involved with the SE as the type and the nature of the activities of this organization. And also we found that there are very few, family members like men who are also involved in this, but they are not, doing this kind of handicrafts things. Rather, they are involved with the selling, and they work as a supplier. So that's why I told you that it's very complicated things, to identify the suppliers and also the workers. So workers definitely in this sector, almost all are women if they are, based in rural area. But if there are some small shops in Dhaka or in the city, definitely there are few men in this area. So we have this data. Yes, there are some small organization who is known, or we can tell them as social enterprise, especially the small, but they are still now unrecognized. Look, if we look at the big one, still now they don't consider that they are social enterprises. They just think, oh, we are NGO. When we ask them, well, look, what is your mission and which vision? What do you do? Then they started telling us, oh, we do this, which included in the definition of the social enterprise, and they become surprised and they are so happy that they are also doing this kind of activities. So I think still now we have lots of confusion regarding the social enterprises as well as social business concept. So as long as we can't clarify and make it clear to them, we can't even say who are social enterprises in Bangladesh. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay, one last question.
So of the 60 organizations, how many are fair trade organizations? How many are recognized fair trade organizations?
As far as I can remember, I think we have the data, but as far as I recall, there are 5 or 6. They are involved.
In the 60?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Especially like even DO, they are DO, the organization,
But
DO
like
Development.
quality works probably.
Yes, on Hate Bona, and also there are some organizations who are involved with this fair trade.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we now have Miss Victoria Tanvi.